Hey guys, welcome back from spring break. Today's lesson is actually a review, so I am going to go through a problem real quick before you guys have a chance to practice some factoring, the things that we were doing before spring break, but this time we're going to practice using IXL. Miss Green and I both agreed that we thought after a week or so off, it would be a good idea to kind of ease back into things on Tuesday by doing some review. The method that we use to factor quadratics is using a generic rectangle and our diamonds, the diamond problems that you guys have been doing for the last few years. So what you need to do is this. All right, our quadratic that we're going to factor right now. Oh, actually, wait, stop. I forgot. Anytime you are watching lesson videos, you need to have a piece of paper and a pencil or a pen so you can take notes, pause the video if you need to while we are going through these. So every single day we're going to post a video either of a new skill or of a review, and you're going to want to keep a notebook where you keep track of those. We'll try to keep them short, under 5 minutes or so, and one or two examples depending on the lesson, but it's a good idea to write things down. So take a second, grab a piece of paper, grab a pencil, pause the video if you have to run and get them, and then come back. All right, so the quadratic we're factoring today is 2x squared plus 5x plus 3. All right, it's in standard quadratic form, so that means it's already set up for us to factor. I've got my generic rectangle. I have got my diamond. If you are taking notes, you're drawing this right now on your paper, and we are going to fill in what we know. So we know in the bottom left-hand corner is always our A term. All right, so it's 2x squared. In the upper right-hand corner, that's where our 3 is going to go, or our C term. All right, the other two boxes are going to be filled with a combination of our middle term, but we don't know what the combination is yet until we use our generic rectangle. I'm sorry, not generic rectangle, until we use our diamond. So when we use our diamond, we multiply the first and the third term together, and that goes at the top of the diamond, because what we're looking for is something that multiplies together to be 6x squared, but adds together to equal our center term of 5x. So now we start thinking of factors of 6x squared because they have to multiply together to equal 6x squared, add together to equal 5x. You can go over to the side and start listing factors of 6. Obviously, 1x and 6x would be 6x squared, but if you add them together, it would be 7x, so it wouldn't work. The next logical choice would be 2 and 3, 2x. All right, and 3x multiply together to be 6x squared, add together to be 5x. So those would work. So that is how we fill in those two parts of the diamond. Now, keep in mind, if you're working with negatives, it gets a little bit trickier, and sometimes it's hard to find these factors, but still definitely doable, okay? So now what we need to do is go over here and fill in the rest of our generic rectangle. Now keep in mind, I have 2x there, 3x on the bottom right. It doesn't matter if you switch them around. You could have put 3x in the upper left and 2x in the bottom right, and you're going to get the same answer. Next up in our factoring process is to pull out greatest common factors of rows and columns in order to find the product of our binomial. We did this with algebra tiles when we started this chapter, and now we've moved on to not needing those. So if I'm looking across the bottom, I have 2x squared and I have 3x. So what I'm going to do is look, 2x squared, 3x. You know what? My greatest common factor between those two is just an x. So an x is going to go right there. Then I think to myself, what times x is 2x squared? Well, that would be 2x, because if you multiply the dimensions, 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times what is 2x? Well, anything times 1 is itself, so 2x times 1 is 2x. Last but not least, the other square that we need to worry about is 3x. What times x is 3x? That would be 3. So on the bottom there, we would have 3. Now, the last thing we need to do, and maybe I'll change the color here because I am running out of room to be able, where do I change the color? Maybe I won't change the color because I don't know how to do that on here yet. I'm learning. But the next thing that we need to be able to do, all right, maybe I'll change the color next time, guys, sorry, is to write it as a product, right? So that means that I have x plus 1 times 2x, oopsie, that's supposed to be a parenthesis, plus 3. I'm using my touch screen on my computer here. All right, so my answer then would be x plus 1 times 2x plus 3, and my circle got kind of wonky there, but I think you get it, okay? So guys, that is it in a nutshell with how we factor quadratics. Now we're going to throw some funky things at you in the next few days where we are going to have a couple extra steps. There's going to be some negatives that might throw you for a loop, but today all you're doing is pretty much taking this, going to IXL, make sure you have a piece of scrap paper down so you can draw your rectangles and your diamonds, and you are going to be factoring. Next slide has the link to IXL. Today your goal is just to practice for 20 minutes. And once you get to that 20 minutes, you can stop, but get through as many as you can in that 20 minutes. And if you have questions, make sure you join us for our Google Meet sessions, as we will go over more of these in person. Well, actually not in person, in virtual person, not on video. We'll go over more of these and we'll answer specific questions if you have them. Also, you can email us at any time if you have questions. All right, take care, guys. Have a good Tuesday. I think that did not stop that. Oopsie. Stop.